Do you see how bad this is? Like, I want you to think about if you're the other team. Think about if you are on the other side and you you shoot the eye and you hear this smoke go off. Like, you're just gonna run up here with your fucking cocks out because you're not scared of anything, right?
Yeah.
And now your job's harder all of a sudden, way harder. I want you to think, let's start from the top. Like, Sentinel is a role, what are its strengths?
Holding sight.
Right. So, I want you to imagine for a second you're the other team here. And you hear a lot of steps A. You get your whole, because a lot of teams, a lot of their enemy teams in A main right now, obviously, right? You hear a lot of steps A.
Yeah.
It gets smoked off, and it gets hit with a Vyse thing. Are you coming A anymore?
No.
Probably not, right? So one thing you're gonna get a lot of success out of, especially at like lower-ish ranks or like this mid-level play, is like people are just gonna do a lot of fucking 5-mans. They're just gonna run shit down. But you immediately, by popping this, told them you probably shouldn't come here because we have you jumping around, him shooting, and you popping this. Like they hear a lot, so they're gonna leave, right? So one thing you're gonna need to do a lot better job of is like keeping your util to like the very last second, because like if you might not have popped this, they might have said fuck it and came out anyways, but the second they heard this, they're like, okay, wait a minute, we're not gonna come out anymore. And that's exactly what ended up happening. So
smoked, I feel
right, exactly. Like they're not gonna walk out, and if they do, let this is where, like, when you used the word baiting earlier, like let your duelist take contact first. Like this guy's gonna get contact if they walk out, so just play close. Or whatever, play the box.
I got flash on the back walls.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're basically telling them to fuck off by popping this shit early, especially with a character like Vyse, where if they do run through this, it's chalk. So in a weird way, I'd almost recommend backing this ability up, because you want to make sure they're fully committed so they get hit by more of it. And at that point, you can just let your other teammates draw first contact and just cut off certain lines. And like, you see what I'm trying to say? But the problem is you're playing a very, very strong sight holding character, and you just told him to leave because you popped your shit early. So like that's the first. Killjoy has a similar problem, right? And another thing that ends up happening is like you're gonna get a lot of value out of also, like, if you understand this, like you can tell your teammates to stay at certain points, because like your Reyna over rotates and like she's just a fucking platinum rank player, right? So she doesn't really care. And now all of a sudden your Astra overpeaks because she doesn't know what's going on, because we're cut for info for mid. So she dies, and now you have to put yourself in a weird spot, and like everything just goes to shit immediately, just off of one small thing. So it's like you're gonna find a lot of success like trying to keep your role disciplined, if that makes sense. Okay, so what's the problem here? Where are you at? What are you doing?
Chilling backside.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Think about when the round starts, there's obviously barriers, right?
Right.
And so the way I like to look at the game is the way I like to look at map control is like I call it like a line of control. So when the round starts, Pearl's weird. But like within it kind of, let's just ignore long B. It's just long B is just different entirely. But like within reason, like there's immediately a line of control that like the map has, right? And this is basically what it looks like. Like when the round starts, the barriers drop. Their team has this much space for free. Your team has this much space for free. And obviously B is its kind of own thing because it's such a long hallway. So just like I said, ignore that. So the problem is what you're doing is by playing backside, and not to mention your Fade is throwing util off the start, and that's fine, but we get a Fade I throw, like, so this was the line of control I said at A, right? Like within reason, cool, right?
Yeah.
Fade throws her I here, where does it move to? Backs up to here, right? So the problem that you're already seeing here is like you don't need to necessarily go scrap and fight and do crazy stuff, but when she threw this I and it landed, we immediately have this much space and we just immediately give it up. So now we used an ability and we had a chance to take more space and we didn't do anything with it, right?
Yeah.
So make sure when you're like, use that to your advantage. And that's the beauty of playing a Sentinel, right? Because like, imagine there were, obviously they ended up going B, but like imagine if there was players here and you fought with this and you called your Fade to come help you. Now you don't have to necessarily commit to the fight. You don't have to necessarily sit here and fuck around with all these players. Let's make them red so it's a little easier to see. You don't have to necessarily do all that, but if you show presence here and they break the eye and then maybe you take some pot shots and Fade throws a dog or something, I mean that's a little bit overcommittal, but like you get the point, right? They're now not just gonna probably run at you, they're gonna invest you till this random, like you throw a flash, right? And so now when you draw them back into the setup, you want them to fall in. Guess who doesn't have a flash? Reyna. And that one bit of util difference makes a big difference, especially the higher level you go. And that's just one example. That's just a Reyna flash, right? Imagine if they overcommit a drone or something. Like, I know they don't have a Sova, but you get my point, right?
So if, let's say, Fade is not using the eye there, would I still try to get util up there?
A little bit. You don't have to like overcommit it, but I would still at least sit at the line, at the barrier,
Yeah, I'm
and
about to say I
just
feel like you automatically have like an advantage because you're already seeing like down to right there when they're having to
yeah.
walk
And
all the
even
way
if
from
Faye
base to
doesn't
spawn.
use, yeah, exactly. Even if Faye doesn't use her eye, you could still sit here and jiggle this thing, because even if they walk up
Yeah,
to here and they see you, they either first of all go loud, which is info, or they know that you're playing close, and like I said, maybe they're, what do they have, Sky? Maybe their Sky decides the dog. Whereas instead, if you weren't playing here and you just were sitting back here, she might have saved her dog for here, and all of a sudden, that's
yeah,
one more piece of util they don't have, right? Does that make sense? Do you see how bad this is? Like, I want you to think about if
yeah,
you're the other team. Think about if you are on the other side and you shoot the eye and you hear this smoke go off. Like, you're just gonna run up here with your fucking cocks out because you're not scared of anything, right?
yeah.
And now your job's harder all of a sudden, way harder, because like, why would it
Or
not be?
automatically,
And at
yeah,
higher
or
levels of
automatically,
play, people are going to be even better at this. You're only in gold, diamond, plat, rough. Probably, I think you're in like plat right now, but like, you're only at that point, and like, so people are still going to still be kind of scared. And see that they rounded this. This is literally exactly what I was saying. Like, if you have been here shooting shots at them and like being annoying, they might have invested util. Instead, they walked to here for free. That's exactly where the dog went off. It's like right here.
yeah,
So you get what I'm saying. So
yeah,
try to force them into you. And I know this isn't your smoke, but like, still, you can calm that too. Like, hey, don't smoke. Only smoke on my contact. Like, I will call your smoke. And now all of a sudden we're cut for info. We don't know where they are. Uranus trolling. They're shuffling out, and you don't really have much you can do other than just wait at this point, because like, you can't just take fights for the hell of it. And see that your fade is scared. Not actually. See, so like, you kind of did it here. You see what I mean? Instead of doing it like here, obviously at the barrier, you backed up and you still like gave him some shit to do and like think about, and you took some pot shots at him with your flash. Definitely back up here, but
yeah. I overcommitted for sure.
you definitely overcommitted. But like, this first initial kind of jiggle contact and giving them something to worry about is good, because now they're worried about you, and they're not just they're gonna have to swing you and like give themselves harder fights and blah blah blah, right? And their Sky used to flash, like, as an example. But and now once again we are dead because we went from undercommitting. Like, we undercommitted at the start of the round by not playing at the barrier, and then we overcommitted at halfway through the round. Like, we gotta get a little more consistent line of play. But like, you're immediately trying to swing, and then you get to a point where you're like, you die, and you kind of assume that your teammate's gonna do something. Well, just tell him, just, hey, yo, 3, 2, 1, we're going wide, and immediately you both just wide swing him, and he dies. And this doesn't get sketchy. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So this is where you gotta use your mic. But here's the only issue that I see is like, you guys put 5 here. And so, like, that line of control that I talked about just doesn't exist. It's just, this is all the space you guys have. So they could theoretically be running up mid, and now you have to hypothetically invest util to take this stuff back. So you kind of have to force yourself to commit. So as a Sentinel, though, you do have the option to lurk, and I would say it's pretty good here because you're 4-manning A. Like, realistically, like, yeah, you have a flash you could put through a wall backwards, but like, you don't really have a lot to help them with. The only thing I would say you could help them with is like throwing a razor like in like the smoke so that they don't swing out of the smokes when you guys are scaling with like an Asher. Like, if your Asher did this, you could put this here. But in general, like, you're gonna get a lot more value out of like fucking around with mid and like sitting here and taking a late timing, like catching somebody running out like this or something and killing that guy, or giving your teammate an option to come back. Like, if you hear a bunch of them rotating, you can tell your team to leave, right? Like, I would suggest lurking a lot on Sentinel, especially when you have like in ranked we have double duelists and everybody over rotates. Like, your team's got to kind of run at them anyways and just make it happen. So anyway, but this is an example of like, you kind of expected him to swing with you, right? But like, you can't expect your teammates to do it, to like make poised decisions. So this is where you're gonna calm. Yo, double swing this guy mid with me, and he probably will just run right up with you and do it. This is a good like example of like, use your mic here. Let's go ahead and force them to. Yeah, exactly. And he ends up now just getting 2 1v1s, and he wins them both. So now all of a sudden this round gets sketchy. We were up 2v5, and all of a sudden our round is 2v1. It was actually 2v2. So that's something you gotta just like consider. Okay, so this is better. Why is this a better round to just 5-man?
Not as good as guns.
Yeah, literally, you have better guns. Like, the odds of you don't. So not only, so obviously lurking in general is like a little risky, just in general. Like, it's just how the role is, or it's how you like play a lurk role. But when you have better guns like this and they don't, you don't want them to like, you don't want to give them a chance to get one of those guns because that's very risky. So in this scenario, it's a little better to 5-man. I still don't love it, but like, it's fine. Like, this is the time where I'd say doing it is correct. Or better, because like, now you're decreasing their chances of like, you're decreasing your team's chances of like messing shit up. And that's just, this is just unfortunate. Just go ahead and let your duelist go first. Don't forget, like, you are a Sentinel. As much as you feel inclined to sometimes take these fights, like, just literally wait until your duelists go. And if you need to tell them to take quicker contact, do it. But like, you end up dying first, you didn't really need to. Oh, that poor guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is an example of just playing slower. And they do have a chamber. You unfortunately have to expect them to just swing through shit. So better timing of using their ability here. Because this is what I was saying earlier. When you're scaling up, you can throw this. The one thing that's good about is going with your team is you can throw stuff in their other smokes like this. People are out of their mind to push through this, right? Like if there's an enemy behind it, going through that's crazy. Yeah. But there is one problem here. What's the issue with this when you throw here and the Asher smokes? It's not really to do with you, to be honest with you.
They could still be in the smoke, like behind it, I guess.
Literally. So this is like you generally don't want to be smoking this. I don't know you're not playing smokes, but this is where you can tell your team to not like. You want to make sure when you push B, you take control of this. Unless you're doing a full-on committed like plant here, get the hell out, which that's a coordinated team thing, so it's just not gonna happen. This smoke is bad because it gives them option to stay back here and wait, and you have to end up fighting this like late, and that's bad because if the other team's better than what they're supposed to be, they'll scale out with knowing you guys have to fight back here, and then that's where you guys can get like fucked up. So make sure your Asher's throwing your smokes like here and here, for example. Like backside is just straight up not clear, and like we don't know that, and it's just sketchy. I got fucked up. Yeah, going back to the gun, that's fine. In a weird way, going for this gun is not fully worth it, just because of how far away it is. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like your team is committed to fighting up here, so I would honestly go ahead and just say stay with them. Because not to mention, if your Reyna dies here taking this fight, and you get the trade, you can just take our gun. So this is not really worth it. Your team just happened to win the 1v1s, but I would say next time I'd not even worry about that gun. Once again, what's the issue here?
I'm going first. Yep,
you're going first. You have a Reyna, a Jet, and a Reyna right, or really just Jet right behind you. You have Fade Util. So like obviously you end up killing this guy, which is great. I like the fact that we just are. I do like how we're just confidently swinging, but at the end of the day, right? Like we're confidently swinging this guy, and that's great. We kill him, but hypothetically you could have died here, and now like your impact on the round is just basically 0. He'd probably get traded, so it's not 0. But you need to, this is where you're going to find inconsistencies in your playstyle if you're playing multiple roles. Just let your Jet go first, or let Fade Dog. Just go ahead and make sure you cover that basis, because like, we call this 90% plays. Like this is not a 90% play, wide swing in this guy. And I don't hate it. You're feeling good. I fuck with that. But do you see what I mean? Like, make sure you're allowing like your people that are supposed to be taking first contact to take first contact. In this scenario, you just really didn't. So, same thing. What's the problem? You're just fucking W-keying, taking first contact. Yeah. Once again, I like that you're confident, but overall, it's just not entirely like worth it. Now, in this scenario, it low-key kind of is your job because Jet has an op. No, not job. You should just have your Reyna come with you. But this is another time of like where you can use your mic and like tell your Reyna, hey, can you go A main, let me lurk mid because they need help getting out because our Jet has an op. Like this is where you need to like find that use from that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the problem is like Valorant's a lot harder to play post plant whenever we were grinding a lot back in the day because there's no more ping system. So like your only really way in to keep this round alive is to be insight and help. So like I would have suggested when your Asher was scaling, like right here, this is where you should be pushing up. Like this smoke is still down. This is this is your chance to get in there and like take some space and like make a play through the wall. Like imagine if you had broken that, because that flash would have went behind you. You would have been here, hypothetically, right? You have Asher wall. This flash pops over here, and so they swing with it. You're just in front of it, not blind, because it's behind you, right? And that's where you could have gotten a timing and a good play. This is where you could take like a high risk like play, but instead we end up just sitting back, and like this round is pretty much chalk from this perspective. And your high risk play that would have been high risk, high reward earlier now turns into this, which is getting quadruple swung by the other team. And like that's just not gonna happen. Wow, we end up. Wait, what? Does he kill them all? Oh, he doesn't. Just killing them all. Nice. All right, cool. But still, like, you get my point.
Yeah.
Same thing. The guy was expecting it, but now you guys are doubled up. Now you guys are layered together, and that's good. So that kills a lot freer. You can take a late lurk. You finally got like a half lurk timing here. Oh, you get fucked up.
Yeah, I remember this. She pooped on me.
So this is a good example to like take a later timing, right? Because if you think about it, right, like we are here, we're in a really advantageous spot. Like they're going to be expecting lurks, the other team is, and so because of that, like we need to take our timings later because this guy was ready for you. He looked ready for you, right? But imagine if you had gone 10 seconds later, 20 seconds later, he might not have been ready for you because he's like, okay, the bomb is down. They're in a post position. I got to move and make a play. That's when he'll probably leave. But instead, we take our timing too fast, and he ends up just laying us out because of it. So when you do end up taking lurks, make sure you focus on your lurk timings, and this is where you're gonna like start finding a lot of success. You'll notice that in pro matches all the time. Like all your sentinels, if you watch them actually in lurk spots, they're gonna take those timings way later, like pretty much every single time. So overall, not a bad like round. Any questions? Anything you want to talk about?
Mm,
I think your aim is really good. I think that's like your best thing. Like you really do take your time in all of these fights, but you just need to. A lot of the fights you end up taking are just kind of questionable because like you're trying to do too much or you're trying to do too little. Like force
yeah.
them into you with smarter poised decision making, and when you take fights, don't make them hard by swinging first. Like you're on a role that does not need to go first. Allow your teammates to do the hard work for you, and then you'll find a lot more success in like the small stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I think. I mean, the good news is, like I said, your aim is pretty good, and you have a lot of right ideas. You just need to start putting them all together, and then I think you'll climb pretty quick. Personally,
Yeah. I just gotta play.
yeah, you just gotta play the game. I get it. Trust me.
I just get pissed off when I lose.
It does suck, but player games in like a series. That's what I did for a while, and I saw myself getting tilted. Is like going when you're going in a day to like grind Valorant. Let's say you get off work, you're chilling, you're ready, you're gonna play for a few hours. Like play your Valorant games in like a best of 3 series, and what I mean by that is like act like when you queue up, you're starting a series. If you win that series, like you win 2 games in a row, or you go 2-1, you can keep playing because you're probably not tilted. But if you lose that, you go 1-2 or 0-2, take a break, reset, mental reset, do something else,
Yeah.
come back with a fresh mind. Because the thing is, like, it takes a shockingly not long amount of time to reset until you instantly queue. The second you insta queue, you don't have any reset at all. If you walk away from your keyboard for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, go play with your dogs, fucking take a walk, even just something to get your mind off the game, just leave. When you come back, you'll be shockingly like, oh, I feel pretty good. All right, let's run it. And all of a sudden, you're not tilt queuing and you're not getting upset. So
Yeah.
that's what I would do. I mean, if you care that much, at least, obviously it's just a game. But like, if you're trying to improve, like that doesn't take much effort just to take a step back every 10 minutes. Approaching it with some sort of mindset like that, to where first of all, it's important to have triggers in place that reduce your tilting. But like overall, like if you find yourself getting tilted, take time away and like start taking mental note of what's tilting you, and you can work on that in the background. But don't play when you're upset. You just don't have good games like that. None of us do. So.